leagues and not become attractive to anyone coming in, and both have had some positive times for their fans, some good journeys. The Salford went to the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup for the first time in a generation. The Lee went to the Super League for the first time in over 10 years, and gave their fans a new sort of sense of pride in the side. But that hasn't been taken advantage of sufficiently by not having the long-term plans that we sort of mentioned from Carson's email. So I think they'll be perceived as missed opportunity, like good short times for both clubs to an extent, but missed opportunities for both sides and for the sport. But they've brought in a lot of publicity and fun times. So I wouldn't write either of them off completely for what they've done, if I'm honest.
No, I think and they have done. There's been pockets of good, and if you look at sort of certain players that have come through, or even just at Salford with the coaching situation, the fact they brought through Ian Watson, that's he's done fantastically well. So that's a bonus. Yeah,
and you look at like Lee gave a chance to a lot of aging players, yes, but it meant that we got to see some of those players back in Super League, and we got to be entertained by them for a short period of time. I just think that my problem is they were so willing to pull out so much so easily. They weren't thinking long term. So there's definitely valid criticisms to be labelled at the way both these two blokes have gone about what they've gone about, and you can sort of suggest egos are involved and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, you can't say that they didn't add anything at all to these clubs or to the competitions.
No, I think that's fair.
Okay, that was a little bit Fence City. We need to get some stronger opinions as we go through the show. We're now going to move on to the news, which is going to be another long news section, Tim, so get ready for that. News now sponsored by RunDom.Run. Every year Dom does stupid runs in stupid costumes to raise money for Martin House, and this year is like no other because Little Warden, who are our usual news sponsor, are going to match any donation to the SLP by the SLP listeners to RunDom.Run. Just leave hashtag SLP family in the donation comment. Dom is going to be on a show later in the season, shortly after he'll have competed in the Great North Run, I think. So, make sure you encourage Dom along with your donations. You get a chance at picking what ridiculous costume he'll be wearing. I'm tempted to ask him how much it'd cost to have him run in like a Bradford shirt or a Wigan shirt or something, but I've not floated that back.
Or a Cass shirt.
But
if only we knew someone who had a large stock. A large stock of Castleford clothing. If only we knew someone that could provide that for us, and even post it directly to his house.
Do you know what? We are spitballing here, but I think we've got some solid ideas to move on from as the
well, at least
the
some lucky, there must be some lucky Cass pants we could throw in.
Well, just running the Cass pants. I wonder how much if the SLP community could raise enough to get that one over the line. I think we'd be laughing. Okay. Anyway,
we would be laughing.
Do you have lucky pants?
I do for certain activities. So, like when I used to play, I used to have a certain set of underwear that was the set I would make sure were clean and were available to play in. And the same way, and I had different ones for when I played volleyball as well. So I had two pairs of special volleyball underwear as well.
Well, I got some oddballs, Wigan Warriors oddballs pants, and I thought, go full on support. I'll wear my pants as well as my shirt to the game. And the first time I did that, we won. So I was like, "Hey, settle."
There you go.
And just as the rotation fell, they were ready for the next week still. So or cleaned and then back available and all of that, should I say? So I thought, I'll give it another go, and we lost. So then I thought, right, I'll give it one last go, the Saints game, and we lost again. And then this weekend, a semi-conscious decision was made not to wear the Wigan pants on the day of the Wigan game, and we won. So they've not managed to achieve lucky pants status, haven't the oddballs pants? But oddballs is a a top charity looking after male health issues. So do
and
support
from what I'm told, a quality product as well.
Yeah, really good.
I haven't got any
can't
myself,
complain about any of the. I've got a couple of pairs, and I can't complain about them at all. I think a few of our listeners now exclusively wear them. We need to crowdfund some new lucky pants for Dom in the Castle for Tigers on Balls range. But yeah, they do. They come with they come with something to. They come with instructions about how to look after your testicles, to check to see if anything's going on there that's untoward. So I would say they are potentially lucky pants for some men out there. Anyway, I've got sidetracked into pants, Tim. I need to find my way back to the news. The British and Irish Lions are set to tour the Southern Hemisphere in 2019 after a Rugby League International Federation meeting in Singapore. It was threatened by a proposal. Look, Nige got a nice holiday to Singapore. It was threatened by a proposal from Australia, who wanted to tour the UK in 2019, but they'll now do that in 2020, with New Zealand coming in 2018 and 2022. The RLIF aims to get this proposed calendar confirmed in November, so it's still not confirmed.
It didn't look very confirmed from the picture I saw, because it did look like it'd just been written on somebody's notes on their phone. It didn't look like it had been sent past the graphic designer.
I think the little pictures I've seen are snips out of Phil Kaplan's blog piece as the sort of head of the European Federation. So there you go. Organisers of the 2021 World Cup in England believe a visit by Australia at the end of the 2020 season would help build momentum for the tournament, said a statement from Australian Rugby League Commission.
As long as we know when the fixtures are at that point, of course.
A proposed Lions tour of the Southern Hemisphere by Great Britain is now expected to take place next year and include tests against Australia, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea and possibly another Pacific nation. We'll need to know what those fixtures are and when they are. I think also, it's good for England to have England playing against Australia the year before rather than Great Britain playing. Not that the Britain side will probably deviate too much from the England side, if at all.
You might get Regan Grayson. That's probably in the squad, but that'll be about it.
Well, maybe some people who might want to represent Ireland in the World Cup, if they do realise that heritage players have got value along with the local competition players.
Because we didn't touch on that news that came out as we were recording last week, didn't it? That Ireland have decided to change their selection policy to have a predominantly local based side and move away from the heritage players. What do you think of that?
Established heritage players will be
grandfathered effectively.
Yeah, but no new heritage players are seemingly going to take. I think it's a silly move. I'm all for bringing in more of their own players, but they've got the Irish Wolfhounds, is it, who basically represent their amateur game and can go and play fixtures around Europe against some of these other emerging European nations, during the season. And then when you get to your main international season, you pick the best from that bunch. Get them all training with them, whatever, but pick the best from that bunch to be in the 23-man squad or whatever for your tournaments and play them alongside your heritage players. Don't go courting heritage players necessarily. Let them come to you.
Yeah, don't go finding people's passports. But for example, if you've got a lad who's got an Irish grandparent, but he's always been brought up as Irish, and his sole ambition is to play for Ireland. And then he can't do that because of the policy. I don't think that's right.
His sole ambition isn't to play for Ireland, but he comes to Ireland. He goes at courting their selection rather than them going courting his. I'm still supportive of that, to be honest, as well, because you can't say people like LMS and Mickey Mack and people like that haven't shown anything but total commitment when they've been wearing an Ireland shirt.
LMS got rid of his hair for Ireland.
Well, there you go.
That is what you want. That's commitment for you.
There you go. So I'm fully supportive of heritage players in top level internationals, but with a mix of bringing through your other players into the group if possible, because you give the chance then to showcase those players to your semi-pro clubs, to your Super League clubs, maybe even as players for them to take on a development spot, put them in the back end of the roster, play them in the reserves or what have you, and develop them. There's opportunities out there.
Or just get them around the camp with those levels of players. Have them running the water, because they'll learn so much from doing that and seeing how those players operate at that level.
No, exactly. I just think it's a backward step. I know it's not got a great profile over there, and I know to get more funding they probably have to play more locally developed players and that sort of stuff. But fucking hell, publicise the shit out of the games they're playing against. Throw them over to Spain and Bulgaria, Sweden, Norway, or whatever, Germany. Do that, and then
or set up a rivalry with someone.
Get put more effort into getting your. They have like a North-South Origin game, don't they, in Ireland, and that sort of stuff.
I've actually got a Northern Ireland shirt somewhere.
Yeah, so put more effort into getting those promoted and that sort of stuff.
Or why don't they set up a series with Scotland?
Oh yeah, you're not going to lose out then.
Set up a series with Scotland where they're playing the local Scotland players.
Yeah.
And make that into a big rivalry. Battle of the Celts or whatever you call it. Promote the crap out of that, and you do really well out of it. And then that builds the excitement for when the big boys come home.
In terms of I just can't believe it's not confirmed still yet. I think it's good for us that we forced it this way around. What hasn't come out in any of the announcement is any mid-season internationals between England and New Zealand that are supposed to be in place for the next 2 years, the RL Challenge Games in America. But what was included is a suggestion of mid-season and end-of-season Pacific Nation tests, so getting those into kind of a competition on a maybe biannual kind of basis to float alongside the European Championships that you'll have on a biannual basis. So these emerging nations have chances to compete on their own levels, and then still giving them the opportunity to compete against touring sides at the end of each year, and making that window a little bit bigger, which requires us to take our season back by a week or two, which wouldn't be a bad thing overall, I don't believe. So yeah, there's loads of stuff there to be good. I think it's the right thing. I think we should.
I think it's the move in the right direction.
Kind of been put in place for a year now already. So positive that seems to be moving forward, even if all the stuff around the RLIF and their kind of politics isn't necessarily positive, self-interesting.
It's hilarious if it wasn't true, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think what we need as a game overall is more internationals, because internationals sell.
Yeah.
You can sell an international. So what we need going forward, long term, we need some form of international on these shores in some form every year. We need some sort of event, an international event every year. How we do that, is
not just
is
here,
a
but in all
question.
the other countries as well that we're trying to grow the game in. In France, we need them to have legitimate international competition on home soil. In America, in Ireland, in Tonga, in Fiji, we need them to be giving them something that they can support, even if it's not necessarily always in their countries or whatever. We need to give them something to follow, to support, to buy into.
For example, I went to the England-New Zealand game at England-Australia game at the Olympic Stadium, and my friend Andy, who you've met and has been around a few times.
Casual interest in rugby league.
He's a casual. He'll happily go to an event with me because there's beer there, but his general knowledge is not there because he's diverted between too many other sports. But his first question as we were walking around was like, "Oh, when's the next international then?"
I don't know. We've got a World Cup next
question.
year, but after that, I'm not sure.
So and that was exactly the same when brought my other friend to the World Cup game at the semi-final at Wembley. I brought a couple of friends there, and they said, "Oh, when's the next game at Wembley?"
One of the greatest games that you could ever experience. Other than the result, no plan.
Followed. Exactly, and that's what we need to do. We need to have a long-term, future tours program that's
long-term plan, and internationals announced 12 months ahead.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Talking of internationals, there's been some additions to the England squad. Do you want to run us through those, Tim?
Yes, Sam Tompkins, Adam Milner, and Mike Cooper have all been called up to the England squad for the second phase of the season. Following review of the Denver Test and the first phase of the 2018 Elite Performance Squad sessions, England coach Wayne Bennett and his coaching staff have selected a 25-man squad for this second stage of the campaign, Castleford Tigers loose forward Milner is the only new face in the squad, while Wigan fullback Sam Tompkins and Warrington front rower Cooper make their returns to the side. So that elite performance squad in full is Luke Gale, Mike McMeekan and